So our next speaker, his name is Winton Ray. He hails from Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden. His paper is called World of Insects. Winton is honored to be the first BioPOC curator, 2013, in the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden's long history. He hopes that his work will inspire other members of these communities in Cincinnati to follow their passions and chase their dreams. That's a beautiful message. The animal he would like to see is the Gila monster. So everybody, a very warm welcome for Winton Ray.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk about our facility, the World of the Insect. Originally, I had put together what was really a compilation of statistics and historical dates and inventories, and it did not spark joy. And as we know, if something does not spark joy, you get rid of it. So I put together something that, at least in my heart, sparks a lot of joy. I'm going to talk a little bit about history, a little bit about about the humans that make up our team. Going to talk about some of the programs, animal and non-animal, that our team is involved in, and then a quick tour through the building. The World of the Insect was the brainchild of Ed Maruska. Ed Maruska was the director of the Cincinnati Zoo for more than 3 decades. He had seen small insect displays in Europe and Asia and really wanted to bring one to the Cincinnati Zoo. Now, as you can imagine, not everybody was super excited about that. And you can see some of the quotes that people made, the Cincinnati Zoo will be the laughing stock of the city. The zoo should use that money to kill the roaches that already live at the zoo. Better men than you have tried and failed. What I found really interesting was that Ed said that he felt building an insect display would do more to raise the stature of the Cincinnati Zoo, which was frankly a backwater zoo in the mid-1970s, than building an ape display or a new bird display or any other display. And it turned out he was right. Sadly, Ed passed away a couple of years ago and is no longer with us, but he was incredibly proud of the World of the Insect throughout the rest of his life. It's great to have a dream, but then somebody has to make that dream reality. And for the World of the Insect, that was Mylan Bushing. Mylan was hired in 1976, and he was raising insects in the basement of our old aquarium. Got the building going and remained its curator for more than 2 decades. Mylan was such a wonderful human being. He loved sharing insects with people. He loved helping people get past their fears of insects. Sadly, he too passed away a couple of years ago. Mylan was still engaged in entomology throughout, right up until the end of his life. He was working with local 4-H clubs and doing a lot of stuff. So really sad to lose those 2 pioneers for our facility. Now we're going to jump to our current team. These are the 5 and now soon to be 6 people that make the magic happen on a daily basis. Mandy Pritchard, our team leader on the left. If you were here yesterday, you heard her amazing talk on the work she's doing with American bearing beetles. April Pittman, next to Mandy, is leading the blue death feigning beetle swarm. Michelle Greisinger, kind of in the middle there, is leading the Hercules beetle swarm. Kelly Walker, that we stole from the San Diego Zoo up there, has amazing hair and is doing great work with Trichonephila and with Peruvian fire sticks. And Amanda Schauer on the bottom right, who is right there, and who is our scholarship winner and our seasonal keeper. And the most important thing about our facility is our team. You can have a great building, you can have a good curator. If you don't have a good team, and if you have a great team, you don't even need a good curator. Internships are incredibly important. Honestly, I think it's one of the most important things we do because the people that are the interns now are going to be sitting in this room 10 years from now. 2 members of our full-time keeper staff, Mandy and Michelle, started their career with the World of the Insect as interns. In this image, Nicole, who you're going to hear from later, was an intern with us in 2018. Amanda was our intern last year. And Reese Miller, who was also our intern last year, now works at the Boonshoft Museum of Discovery in Dayton. Internships are incredibly important. It's not free labor. It's an opportunity for us to mold the future insect keepers. Now we're going to jump into some of the programs. As I said, Mandy gave a great presentation yesterday about American burying beetles. We've been working with this species more recently, since 2009, 2010, releasing them first at the Fernald Preserve and now up at the Wilds. A great program, great to be a part of, and it's great to do actual conservation work at the zoo. A lot of times zoo conservation work is sending money to Africa or to Asia or to South America, and that's great and that's important, but it's really important for zoos to get their hands dirty and do conservation work, where they are. Last year, we initiated the Bushing Morgan IECC Scholarship. Really important to me because of my affection for myelin and that guy at the bottom whose name I forget right now, for what they meant to the world of the insect and to the insect zoo community. Just an opportunity to bring two young entomologists out to Arizona to introduce them to all of the wonderful people that make up this conference and hopefully help them move forward in their career however they choose to go forward. Something we've been involved with for the last several years, and when I say involved, I mean we go to the gate, let them in, and then they set up all their materials, but we've been hosting these joint outreach events between the USDA and the Ohio Department of Agriculture for their work in trying to stop the spread of the Asian longhorn beetle. Really great. Our guests really enjoy it, and they get lots of free beetle antenna and all kinds of stuff. People love free stuff. But the kids really love it. For them, it's the most attended event that they do all year, so it's really great to get them to the zoo. This conference has become incredibly important to me and to the members of our team. And it's because of all of you, getting to come and be here with our colleagues who in many cases have become friends. Getting to learn from all of you and be inspired by all of you is something that our team really looks forward to, and we hope to continue to participate in this conference for a long time to come. This year we did an insect festival. And when I say I mostly mean April Pittman, our keeper, who took it on and really just ran the hell out of it. Put together a 7-day festival with so many amazing activities. When you put something together for the first time, you expect there to be a few things that sort of bomb, and none of it really bombed. There was like one thing maybe that we won't do because it just didn't get the traction. But by and large, everything that April put together really killed, and it was really great, and we can't wait to continue this for many years to come. Something we initiated several years ago was a little idea that, because we'd often get bugs mailed to us in a Ziploc bag, smashed and gross, and people would want us to ID it. So we thought we would just help people be able to submit images through the zoo's website, and that we could identify. And it's actually been pretty cool, and I've been surprised that largely the submissions have been pretty respectful and not very many smashed and dead bugs. A few, but mostly not. And it's been great for me to learn more about the insects that are in the tri-state area. So it's just really cool, and it doesn't get overwhelming. Increasingly, our zoo has wanted to provide support for the idea of equality and DEAI. We all know that's a tricky space for nonprofits to be in because the Cincinnati Zoo is tax levy funded, and we rely on donors, many of whom have political leanings that are not necessarily great with DEAI. But for the last few years, we've been participating in, one example of that, we've been participating in the local Pride Parade. Other than it being really hot in downtown Cincinnati and seemingly no airflow, it's really a great experience to get out there and to show those members of our community that the Cincinnati Zoo loves and supports them. Behind the scenes tours, everybody does them. I think that behind the scenes tours are so important. A lot of times we talk about educating children, educating kids, because eventually they're going to vote, they're going to be spending, they're going to be making decisions to how they decorate their yard, or do they use insecticides. Well, right now, these young people this age, they're already making those decisions and they can already vote. And we know how consequential elections are and will be over the next decade. To be fair, these were friends of a zoo staff member, but they had such an amazing time. None of them had ever had an experience like this before. And they did nothing but rave to the staff member who set them up about this experience. I mean, I love the looks on the faces. As I mentioned earlier, April Pittman has been working with blue death feigning beetles and started to get some success and really started to figure out how to breed these animals and how to raise the larvae. And I really love that picture there. Trichonephila, Florida orb-web spider. Kelly's been doing great work with this species. And, you know, I was a little skeptical when they wanted to put them into this exhibit. This used to be our sunburst diving beetle display, and I'm sure Randy, you know, would not have kind words for me about that, but it's been incredibly popular with our guests, and they're such beautiful spiders, and I love that dichotomy between the teeny tiny little male and the huge females. And our females, I think Mandy mentioned the effect the flesh flies have had on a number of our species, but these spiders, we've produced the biggest females I've ever seen. Many years ago, from, the early 90s into the late 2000s, we worked with Hercules beetles. We collected beetles originally on the island of Trinidad. And in the late 2000s, we even had overlapping generation for a bit. We got out of the Hercules beetle game and got back in, I think it was 2019 or 2020. We got some larvae that had been confiscated in Louisville. And we've been working back towards them ever since, obviously getting some beetles in occasionally from LPS. But great beetles, wonderful animals, and males make such wonderful displays. Peruvian fire sticks. My predecessor, Randy Morgan, collected the original livestock out of the Peruvian Amazon outside of Iquitos in the late 1990s. And we did really well with this species for a while, and then in the early 2000s, we lost them. Fortunately, some other people, principally Woodland Park, was doing really well with them. So we were able to get them back a little bit later, and Kelly's been doing great work with them. Really cool species. And this, just a quick tour through our building. This building was built in 1978, and Wayne Wheeling was like, you have to make the building bermed. It has to be bermed. It wasn't Wayne Wheeling, actually. He's not that old. But they wanted the building bermed. So the only parts of the building that are not bermed are the front entrance doors that you see here, and then the back exit doors. As you enter the building, guests first interact with what we call the quiz wall, where they're asked if the animal they're seeing is an insect or an insect relative. Then they come over here, and everybody loves this scale that has not been calibrated since the building opened. If a person was to get on there 10 times, they would get 10 different weights. But people love it. It's funny, most people don't like to get on a regular scale, but if you tell them they're being weighed in insects, they feel much safer with that. In this area, you can see is what we call the insectivore wall, where we do have some vertebrate animals that are preying on insects and other invertebrate animals. One of my favorite exhibits that doesn't have animals, we have this little cicada wheel and a little cicada diorama that Mylan Bushing put together many years ago, and then Mandy Pritchard skillfully moved when we relocated this from one part of our building to the other. Some little stole the dot there on the I. We can spell. Charlie Harper was a local artist and was a friend of the Cincinnati Zoo, and he actually did this poster for the World of the Insect. One of our keepers in the past had developed a relationship with Charlie and his wife, and a couple of these posters were donated by the Harpers, and the rest were purchased. This quote here is actually at the very end of the building, but I just love it because it suggests the world all around us that we generally know nothing about and that we still only know a little bit about. On the top left-hand corner is our leaf cutting ant display, and this was how the exhibit was for the first 30 years of its existence. This is the back, and we went a little bit crazy with the rivets, and it gives it a kind of diving bell look, but this is how we can see kind of what's going on with the fungus from both the front side and the back. In 2007, we added PVC tubing that takes the ants 80 feet away to foraging chambers where they get their plant. This is the vestibule that leads into the butterfly aviary that we constructed last year. I raised a lot of hell saying we needed a vestibule. We got a vestibule, and then we had so many breaches in the first couple of months. But it was the morphos and the heliconiids. So. This is our butterfly aviary. It's small by modern standards, about 1,000 square feet. There's a lot of debate about, when this exhibit opened, it was one of the first walk-through butterfly exhibits in the world. It is the oldest. We've been lobbying to get a new exhibit, and hopefully someday we will. But for now, it's become really popular. We used to work with just a single species that we raised in-house. And over the last 2 or 3 years, we've been getting butterflies from LPS, kind of like everybody else. And these are some of my favorites. And that's kind of the end of my real brief overview. This building and these people bring a lot of joy, and I hope they bring you a lot of joy.